This one is called Werewolf by Night from Marvel Studios. We have been told of the heroes of this world, but this is a story about the monsters and those that hunt them. A famous family of monster hunters called the Bloodstones has a patriarch who possesses the powerful Bloodstone weapon. Ulysses Bloodstone has recently passed and a new owner for the Bloodstone needs to be found. A group of hunters from around the globe have congregated at his funeral for a ceremonial hunt to see who will take possession of the Bloodstone. We are told there is a monster hidden among them. Jack Russell moves from the antechamber into the glass-domed main hall where he looks at the macabre decor and sees the other hunters. A big Scottish accented man named Jovan introduces himself with his kill stats and admires Jack's makeup, which he is told is to honor his ancestors. Elsa Bloodstone arrives and is met by Verussa, her stepmother, who says she did not have to be there, but Elsa says she is there to win the stone as it belongs to her. Verussa tells Elsa that she was a great disappointment to Ulysses despite Verussa's efforts on her. Verussa introduces the group with their kill stats. Barasso with 26. Azrael has 37. 43 for Lion. 57 to Jovan and a huge 100 for Jack Russell. She thanks the death dealers for removing their masks and coming to the ceremony. The butler turns a crank which opens a coffin that has a mechanized, desiccated corpse of Ulysses that tells them the new leader of the group has to be the strongest, and whoever kills the huge monster that has been released into the grounds will win the Bloodstone and be the new leader. He makes a joke saying that he will be rotting for them. They have a giggle and then the coffin shuts. Verussa explains that the Bloodstone should have gone to his daughter, but she was missing for many years, so this ceremony was conceived. Weapons have been spread out in the gardens and the Bloodstone will be attached to the monster, which should make it angry. Barasso complains that they have all earned their spots, but Elsa hasn't. Verussa tells them that Elsa is welcome, but that she is also fair game like them, with no favors. She goes on to say those that do not survive will be honored appropriately, which makes it seem like a stupid way of picking a leader because they might lose most of their best hunters, and I am guessing they will. They pick runes from a skull to determine who will go first, and Jack is up first with the others to follow. In the garden they can hear the monster scream and Verussa starts the proceedings. Jack walks to the garden as the group performs an incantation. The garden turns out to be a huge maze-like area with lots of small buildings and walls. Once inside, Jack stealthily makes his way around and the others are soon doing the same and taking great care. Elsa finds a gramophone playing a record, and after shutting it off she bumps into Jack, who suggests they pass each other by, but they are instantly attacked by Jovan, who has found himself a big axe. Elsa saves Jack and fights with Jovan, who smashes her head against a wall, but it surprisingly does little damage to the head or the wall. She manages to disarm him and runs off with the axe as he screams that he will kill her. Yeah, this seems to be a terrible way to pick a new leader. Elsa has the axe now and is making her way when she discovers some big-ass smoking footprints. Startled by a sound, she goes to investigate a building but is attacked by another member of the group wielding a mini crossbow. She lops an arm off Lion and they get into a fight. Elsa ends up with an injured leg and Lion ends up with an arrow in his face. Elsa pulls Lion down to avoid being seen by a freshly rearmed Jovan. She has to silence Lion while he dies, but Jovan is just happy to get his big axe back and misses them. Meanwhile, Jack is still unarmed and looking around the garden. He is confronted by the monster, but it turns out they are friends and Jack only came to help it escape the hunt. As he is explaining to the monster that he has explosives to help them get out, Azrael is closing in and hears them, but startles them by making a noise. Jack runs for it and hides in the Bloodstone mausoleum. Coincidentally, Elsa is already in there, and when he shuts the door it locks them in. He notices she is injured, but she does not want his help, although she can't make a dressing, so he ends up helping her anyway. She comments on how he did not attack her or Jovan and wonders what kind of hunter he is. He says she didn't attack him either and proposes that if she helps him help the monster escape he will get her the stone, saying that the monster is a friend. Elsa is not fond of her father, and when Jack starts talking about his family, Elsa remembers that her crazy aunt was buried with keys just in case she woke up in the tomb. They get out. Elsa retrieves Lion's crossbow and directs Jack to a crack in the garden wall where he can place the explosive, adding that if he crosses her, both he and the monster will die. Jack asks her when she meets the monster to be friendly and call him Ted, which bemuses her. He starts dicking around with the explosives and accidentally starts the timer, so they both sprint to their objectives. Meanwhile, Jovan is now double-armed and closing in on the sound of Ted, the monster, but turns around when he hears Elsa shout at him. Ted comes out of the bushes and grabs Jovan's head, which he burns off. A petrified Elsa says how she likes Ted's name and that she is with Jack, who at that moment has found the crack in the wall, but he bounces the bomb off of it and has to reset it more than once. Ted and Elsa get there, just as the bomb blows a hole that Ted escapes through, while Elsa pries the bloodstone from his back. Ted runs off into the misty woods and Jack and Elsa are elated. Jack reaches down for the bloodstone but is blown back and is rolling around when Azrael and Barasso arrive with some guards. Verusad joins them and says that Jack is a monster and that he has desecrated the night. He is cattle prodded and so is Elsa when she says none of them should have the stone. Jack wakes up in a large cage with Elsa, who is annoyed that he will turn and kill her. He says that he can control himself and that she has nothing to worry about and they have 5 days to work something out until the full moon, but Elsa says that the bloodstone can make him transform in 5 seconds. On this news, Jack starts pacing and saying,
"This is gonna be really bad."
He starts sniffing Elsa like Joe Biden, saying that he needs to remember her after he turns and that this once worked. The group enters and Jack starts pleading with them, even saying for them to kill him because there will be no mercy when he changes. Verusa removes her mask and says that theirs is a mission of mercy and then tells Elsa that her father would have been disappointed in her. She starts chanting and the bloodstone fires magical light into Jack, who starts his painful transformation into a werewolf. Once he is fully changed, Verusa gets too close and is pulled against the cage until Jack gets prodded and the cage starts filling with singed fur smoke. Once the smoke clears, it can be seen that the werewolf has escaped the cage. Everyone is on edge until the werewolf jumps down and attacks 2 guards and then turns to Verusa. It kills 2 more guards and fights with Barasso biting his ear off, then fights more guards and gets prodded. Elsa escapes the cage only to be attacked by Barasso with a sword. She is able to dispatch Barasso with a sword to the next slice. More guards arrive and are killed one by one while the door shuts them in. The werewolf starts futilely clawing at the door. Azrael is fighting with Elsa while Verusa uses the bloodstone to attack the werewolf, shooting him through the air. Elsa is able to get the better of Azrael and buries her sword in her skull. She finds a long-range weapon and sinks it into Verusa's back and stops her from attacking Jack. She goes to investigate and can see that the werewolf is injured. She retrieves the bloodstone and approaches him. He flies through the air and pins her to the ground, but soon calms down, gets off her, and escapes from the building. Verusa, on the other hand, is mad and is going to shoot Elsa when all of a sudden Ted drops in on her and burns her up and throws her carcass at Ulysses. He seems to be looking for Jack, so she tells him where he went and off he goes. The butler is still alive and says that he is at her service, so she says,
"Brilliant, you can start clearing all this shit up."
Elsa sits down while Over the Rainbow plays as her coat gains color. Somewhere outside, the song plays on a gramophone as Jack wakes up. Ted gives him a cup of coffee that he made and asks about getting food. Jack suggests they get sushi. And that is the strange end to this tale of monsters and hunters. Peace out.